What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and baby, let's get into the drama of it all because we got some things we need to get into as it pertains to Real Housewives of Potomac. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So first up, let's talk about Wendy. So last Tuesday, Wendy and Eddie appeared in court to get more information about, I'm guessing, their trial and things of that nature. But I want to give a shout out to the hostess of the Weigopodcast as well as the YouTube channel, Taria. She was the same one who was giving us all types of updates about Karen because she was right in the courthouse when everything went down. And she did the same with Wendy and Eddie. So the first tweet I saw said this: Wendy and Eddie just arrived in the courtroom. They look good, y'all. Hashtag RHOP. And she took a picture of the District Court of Maryland to prove that she was actually there. Then the next tweet goes, Eddie just grabbed her hand and probably reassured her. She keeps looking around the courtroom. Makeup is flawless. Hashtag RHOP. And then the last tweet I saw was, well, they filed to now have their case tried together. Judge granted it. They will no longer be tried separate and are back to being co-defendants back in court December the 19th. Hashtag RHOP. Now, I'm wondering, and if I have anybody that follows me that is a lawyer or going to law school, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts because I'm wondering if this is a good sign for Wendy and Eddie, or is this a bad sign? Or is this no sign at all and this is just a common strategy that lawyers use? But I do think it's interesting that they at first were being tried separately, but now they decided to come together. So I wonder what the play is for, their team of lawyers. Like, how are they going to work this in their favor? I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't really think their crime is that serious. Like, yeah, fraud is fraud, but you're defrauding the insurance, and them being like your premiums are going up. Girl, insurance is crap anyway. like I so I'm not really that like, oh my gosh. I mean, should they have been taking money allegedly and lying? No. If this is true, no. But I feel if this is like their first offense, I'm hoping if they do get sentenced, it's not that deep. Like maybe they just get slapped with a bunch of probation and restitution, you know? But yeah, I'm just interested in seeing like what this is going to do for them. So we'll be back in here, probably back from Taria, because she'll probably be in the courthouse again on December the 19th. But if you're interested in her content, you should definitely check out her YouTube channel and things of that nature. Go follow her on Twitter. She gives out good commentary. All right. So let's move on. All right, y'all. So let's talk about Jassi. So Jassi did an interview with No Chaser TV. Shouts out to Chase, who runs that YouTube channel. It was a really good interview. The way that I came across this interview was on Twitter. He posted this on his Twitter page where it says exclusive hashtag RHOP Real Housewives of Potomac Jassi Haris talks Keiarna Stewart, Tia Glover, Stacey Rush, and more. And I was really entertained. Like Jassi was very much open and willing to answer pretty much all of the questions that Chase asked her. And he asked really good questions, like questions that like the audience would want to know. So I enjoyed it. So if you have time, you should definitely check it out. What I walked away with after watching the video is, one, I do want to see Jassi back for Real Housewives of Potomac. Now, I don't think I want to see her as a full-time housewife. I definitely think she thrives as a friend of. So I would enjoy her being a friend of. Um, Two, it was a lot more going on at that wedding. Supposedly she had 13 dresses made, and the dressmaker was like hours late. Like, I think she was supposed to be there around like 12 p.m. And if I'm remembering, I think she said the lady didn't get there till like 4 or 5 p.m. It was crazy. And I don't think the dressmaker had all the dresses. I said, "Oh, girl, I hope you got a refund, because where they do that at?" Okay. Um, Three, it looks like Stacy and Jassi aren't gonna be as close as I was hoping, because I was definitely feeling like Stacy, Wendy, and Jassi could have been like a formidable trio, but it seems like Stacy's ways are going to start to really rub even people who consider her a friend the wrong way. Okay. Number four, girl, she clocked Keiarna. She basically said Keiarna is doing a lot. But, she's trying. She seems to really like Angel. I don't know if that's a wag thing, but she was like, Angel is just trying to figure out where she fits in the group. So she was advocating for Angel to get another season, which I don't think Angel is that bad where I wouldn't want to see her come back for another season. But hopefully she does better at the reunion, because that's going to really tell if the girls really want you back. Um, and she did call out Tia. She talked about that back and forth that they had when they were in Nevis, and she explained how pretty much her and Tia had a conversation before even sitting down with the ladies, and she told Tia about how she felt about her comments and like her boundaries. But Jassi basically says that after she had that conversation with Tia in the sprinter, later on she found out that Tia had already started talking to the other women about the conversation that they had. And then when they were sitting at the table and Tia brought up the whole catfish thing, and Mr. What's his name? Sunshine. Jassi felt like Tia was trying to play in her face. Well, Tia saw that Jassi did this interview and she actually responded to her. So let me pull that up for you guys and let's get into that. So I believe this was posted on Chase's Instagram channel, or his Instagram page, which I think goes by the same name, No Chaser TV. But this is what Tia said, and it was a pinned comment. And she says, "Now at Jassi, I'm not one to talk about the show. I really haven't spoken on this because I know you are a little bit embarrassed by how you came across on the episode, which I understand. But if you continue to paint this picture in effort to spin things, I'm going to have to speak on this myself. There are witnesses to what happened that day. For you to try and suggest I wanted a moment with you when I barely filmed with you full time is pure insanity." She goes on to say, "If I wanted a moment with someone, it wouldn't be with you. Secondly, it's not my nature to deliberately create conflict with anybody. If I ever cause offense knowingly or unknowingly, I will be the first to apologize, which I did. Furthermore, you and I both know what happened the moment, or not the moment, the minute the cameras went down at the restaurant. So please be honest and stop suggesting this is something it isn't." So that is what Tia had to say to Miss Jassi. Now, I feel two ways about this. On one hand, I get Tia's frustrations if she really feels like the scene did not play out that way. And granted, we didn't get to see what happened once the cameras were down and stuff like that. But then I also understand Jassi feeling like, girl, we already had this conversation prior, and then you went and ran your mouth. And I felt some type of way. When it comes to her saying she could pick somebody else for a moment, that is true, but I do think that Tia was looking for a moment. Because if you remember that sit down when they were at the restaurant, Tia was the one that brought up the whole catfish thing over again, but in reference towards her and Jassi, saying that Jassi filters her pictures and stuff like that. And she was like, I was trying to make it like a moment where things mull over and bring the group together. But I was like, where are you, Tia? Like, where are you? But yeah, I don't think their situation is that deep. But I'm also curious to see if this is going to be something that comes up on the reunion. Um, and if so, how will Tia proceed? Because it's one way to argue in scenes and, on the after show and in the comments. It's another thing at the reunion because I have heard from a lot of the women. Well, we've all heard. I'm saying like I've talked to these people directly, but we have heard from these women that the reunion is like a different beast. Like the energy is different, and you can't really go anywhere. You are like kind of forced, not even kind of, you're forced to like talk about things ad nauseum and try your best to hash them out. So honestly, I'm wondering if this will be a topic of conversation for Tia and Jassi, or if it's just like this one blip in the grand scheme of Real Housewives. But let's move on. So the next thing I want to talk about is the after show. I have 3 clips that I found interesting that I want to talk about. So first up, let's talk about the back and forth that happened with Stacey and Keiarna at Giselle's event. So the producer ends up asking Stacey, like, do you purposely push Keiarna's buttons, or is it just Keiarna's vibe? Okay. And I thought Stacey's commentary was actually funny. So let's get into it.
To push with Kay? I don't live my life trying to push buttons, but apparently I do.
Your character's flawed, Stacey. Your character's flawed. I never touched around my husband. You don't have one. And guess what? You don't have one either, bitch. Where is Timo? Where is Timo?
I don't think about Kay. I think that's probably the biggest sentence of the season for me, is I'm not thinking about Kay.
And that bothers her. She wants you to.
Okay, well, we can all want.
Stacey infuriates Kay. I don't think that she has the capacity to be around Stacey.
So you've already noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
I think they both become different people when they.
I think they grow bigger balls.
Yeah, like it's.
They have it out for each other.
Yes.
That part's clear. I'm a grown ass woman. I know how to have a conversation. You want to get smart with me? Let's get smart back. This is what we do here, right?
What do you have to talk about besides me?
Everything.
What?
Everything.
For example?
Everything. My life, my business, my
But
content,
the only
my
time you speak up is when it's about
What do you have going on?
I have a husband and a ring, and you don't.
Okay, and I
So
don't
wait
like
on
that.
that.
Cloudy and a mother.
Is it? Oh, really? Well, that is probably cloudy compared to nothing.
Don't do me. I know it's hot ass.
I
I don't think Kay becomes a different person when she argues with Stacey. I feel like when Kay is angry, that's who she really is.
I agree.
Well, we were in Lake Norman and they shared a room together.
What the hell is this? Is this my own space? Chill. Chill that. I need to move the bump beds together and I can have a queen size. I'm thinking. Stacey is in here.
Oh, Stacey's. Oh,
She's in boot camp.
But the night before we left to come back home, Kay even said, y'all don't know Stacey.
Ooh.
She said the person that I see at night in our room, that's not who y'all see. So Kay has already been onto this charade that Stacey is putting up.
Putting on the
and I think
mask.
she's done. She's
Yeah.
at wit's end.
I don't not like Stacey. I think she's a great time when she's just being whatever version of herself that's normal.
Yeah.
But it's exhausting for me to like see somebody play on my intelligence consistently with things that I know are facts. And she manages to throw rocks and hide them very well.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're trying to come and have this air about yourself that it's not real.
Yeah.
And I'm totally for like, you know, this is your persona and you're able to stay in it. And I think that's an art. But for me, like the realness in myself, it's just like, girl, I'm trying to find something about you that could be likable, that is true to who you are. Everyone else in this group just finds some level of authenticity to show for themselves and what they have going on. And I'm just very unimpressed by it.
Listen, it is not my job to analyze or unpack Kay's issues. We don't have enough time in the show for that.
So here's the thing. I can understand Keiarna's frustrations with Stacey. I would be frustrated with Stacey if we had private conversations. We had a good time on the Lake Norman trip last season. I felt as though I got to see the real you, and I asked you, when is anybody going to see this Stacey? And you're like, no. And then I see you interact with the women and it feels fake, it feels phony. And then not only do you get caught up at the reunion for potentially lying about your relationship with TJ, it feels as though you're lying about other things too. So I understand how Keiarna could be like, you know what? I really don't like this lady. I don't see it for her. The issue is the way in which Keiarna is presenting her feelings. Like the level of aggression and anger that she has for Stacey, you would have thought that Stacey stole money from Keiarna, gypped her out of a business deal, tried to physically assault her, or actually physically assaulted her, or tried to push up on Greg. Like the energy is not matching, girl. The whole like, you want my life, my business, my man, my condo, my everything. And it's like, Keiarna, you making yourself look crazy. Because one, although the condo is nice, I would like that condo if it was me. I'm just by myself. But I don't think Stacey wants that. Stacey has a full-blown house. It's probably paid off because of Temu. Number two, she don't want Greg. She don't want your man because she got Temu or probably other men. And that's not to like rag on Greg, but it's just like, who is Greg? Your life seems like it's a lot going on over there, girl. It is. So I'm just like, you're working yourself up so much into a tizzy. You look crazy. You looking crazy. Not Stacey, the person who we've seen get caught up in lies and not be very truthful, but you. Think about that, okay? So the next clip I want to play for you guys is about Angel and the whole catfish situation with Wendy. All right, so let me pull that up.
Okay, so let's get back to the catfish of it all.
The thing is, when we were in Nevis, the topic came up of how Angel overfilters her pictures.
I was the first one to say to Angel, like, I feel very catfish. Like, this is catfish of it all. Angel, I did not know that that was you on these pictures. Like, I felt like straight catfish.
Let's look. She about to block me after this, but. Oh, did she already block me?
Oh.
When it's someone that you genuinely don't know, and it's not someone that you're used to seeing their features,
Yes.
or you're used to seeing them, it can be confusing. It's really for anybody, because you're like, okay, I
It looks
think
nothing like
but anything
her.
that's filtered in general is going to be like, it's going to make you second guess, like, is this the person or not?
But guys, catfish is like, we're on a dating show.
Yeah.
And then when you meet me, I'm like triple the size.
Yes.
My eyes are crooked.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't that extreme. It was
It
heavy.
was.
Am I just missing it for real?
Oh, it doesn't come up.
She blocked your ass. Not you finding out while we taping.
My recollection is that Giselle tried to say that I look different online than I do in person. And then Wendy cackled like a witch and said, she's trying to call you the catfish.
Boom.
That's
that was
what
my
happened.
recollection of it.
That's exactly what happened.
Well, maybe because Wendy was sitting closer to her and you were further down the table.
But it came out of my mouth.
I'm glad you admit to it. I didn't know. I was just so
It was like she
mortified.
wanted Wendy to be the one to say
Yes,
it,
she
for
wants
some
smoke with
reason.
Wendy.
Are you coming for Giselle? It's me that you want to come for?
Giselle had a conversation. This is just another example of you being
No, this is another example of you falling flat.
I don't know if Angel drank her green juice in the morning. I don't know what happened to her, but she was literally like
Ready.
charging
Yes.
and ready for you.
It really, for me, was the turning point in my journey to have a relationship with Angel. Because here goes Giselle saying to you, hey, over here, I'm the one that did the catfish comment.
And we addressed that you felt like the whole catfish comment came from you. Did you originate the catfish conversation?
How did the catfish comment come from Wendy? Wait, Giselle was the one that said the catfish comment. Wendy said it? No, I said it.
She had no smoke for
And she
Giselle.
had no smoke for Giselle, but was hell-bent on directing whatever her issues were to me. And that tells me that, like, you really don't have a problem with me. You just like the attention that have no problem with me is giving you.
Well, what else would she get attention for?
That was not the reason I wanted to talk to Wendy. That was not, it was just an example. I wanted to have a conversation, not an argument, not a back and forth, not a who's trying to have a moment. I wanted to genuinely have a conversation with her where I tried to figure out why her behavior towards me was so mercurial. I haven't addressed Wendy's part of it.
You have a little smoke for Wendy.
Yeah, so our interactions have devolved in a mercurial nature. One moment it seems that we're fine. And then the next moment when I see her, she doesn't speak or acknowledge my presence at all. And I don't think that you do that when you know someone.
She describes her relationship as mercurial.
What does that mean? What does mercurial mean?
What does mercurial mean?
Why can't people just use regular words when they talk?
MERCURIAL.
Never heard of this before. And I'm a reader.
Mercurial? With a C or a K?
M.
Mercurial is subject to sudden or unpredictable behavior.
You couldn't just say it's unpredictable, it's inconsistent. Our relationship is inconsistent. Our relationship ebbs and flows.
Right.
Like, just talk like regular people.
Girl.
So mercurial nature means you are moody, you are back and
Yes,
forth.
you're
You're
inconsistent,
inconsistent. Nobody can tell what you're going to be from 1 minute to the next. We think you happy and
We
you're in a
thought it was cool,
badass
but
mood.
now next thing we know, you're
and
not
it's
cool.
like emotional and mood whiplash
Weird.
constantly. And that's what I felt with her.
It's like if Angel doesn't talk about Wendy, then what is there to talk about? I mean, I think she's a beautiful person. I mean, but the sauce is here. Clearly.
Stacey, do you know what buttons to push with Kay?
So, what is up with Angel? Like, shout out to one of my Twitter mutuals. Shout out to what's it called? Simone. Because she posted a tweet, a repost of her own tweet where she said something to the effect of a lot of the girls want to come for Giselle but are too scared to, so they go for Wendy. Because Angel's issue with Wendy does not make sense to me. Keiarna's issue with Wendy, I understood. But this right here does not make sense to me, because I'm like, Angel, you got to be hearing things. And I feel like she's trying to find a reason to justify her behavior towards Wendy, but it's making her look crazy following Keiarna's path. Because both her and Keiarna sitting there being like, yes, that's what I heard. No, girl, because they've ran back the tape several times and Wendy never said anything about a catfish until your energy came up where Wendy was like, this lady just told you who you report to be online is not who you're reporting to be right here. And you got energy for me, but not for her. But I checked your attitude, girl. So I noted it. So I'm just like, what do you want from her? And to say that Wendy and yours interaction have been mercurial is not the correct word, because they've been, in my opinion, pretty regular to this sense of like the way you behave and the way Wendy has behaved. Wendy has been cordial until she saw how weird you were being, and then she pulled back from it. You, my dear, have been the one that seems to have weird energy for her. So I'm not getting it, boo-boo. I'm not. I just feel like you're trying to find a reason to beef with her because you're friends with Keiarna, because you genuinely don't have a reason to beef with that lady. So the last clip we're going to play is about Tia and Stacey and how Tia felt about getting kicked out of Stacey's launch party. All right, so let me pull that up for you guys.
Your Shia launch, you make history as the first Black female in the state of Virginia to own a cannabis line.
I did. Okay, Wendy, in true Stacey form, I didn't even know. I had no idea that I was making history.
Did we fact check that?
I'm so sick of this foolery of her being the first Black woman to have a cannabis line in Virginia. Do you know how big Virginia is? And yet, you're going to reiterate, and she said it repeatedly.
I am the first Black woman in the state of Virginia to have her own cannabis business. We launched a company, and someone said, well, what other African-American women own brands in the state of Virginia? And we couldn't find any. I didn't even know.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't that sweet?
I've asked numerous people, including Google, okay? And that is not coming up. If you really were the first female Black-owned cannabis line, you'd be getting recognized. They'd be awarding you. They'd be acknowledging this huge accomplishment, right? Like, people would be actually validating what you're saying.
Well, I'm the first Black woman to have an essential oils line.
Good for her. We love when Black women have accomplishments.
Here's the thing. I applaud anybody who pursues entrepreneurship because as much as I joke on Stacey, if you're doing it and you're doing it right, it's hard. So kudos for Stacey for doing something.
She chose to launch on Juneteenth.
Wait! She done hijacked a culture and a holiday. And somebody else's business idea.
I was trying to get Ashley some Happy Eddie merchandise so she could wear it to your launch.
The shade.
I own my stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I sure was. I tried everything.
No.
There was no Uber available. I was not about to drive all the way to Ashley's house.
Oh my gosh.
How'd you feel getting kicked out of her event?
Can I just tell you? So after your event, obviously Stacey and I did not end on the best of terms.
Yeah.
After the event, I got a phone call. Obviously, I got the invitation when you all got the invitation, and then I got a phone call, and she was like, "T, I'm really sorry." Like,
She apologized
oh
to
no,
you.
yeah. She said, "Listen, no, but maybe she didn't apologize." She said, "I really want to move forward in our friendship."
Okay.
And she said, "But I really do want you to come to my event." So after having that kind of like olive brunch,
Yeah.
I just thought, okay, like fine, I'll go, I'll celebrate her, and we'll have our moment to chat.
Yeah.
And so then she invites us to the back and all
Okay.
that. Super cordial. I said to her, "Congratulations, I'm really
Yes.
proud of you." I even brought money to buy these said gummies.
Yes.
You know, and then we sit down. Just before I was able to grab a croissant,
Yeah.
you know, we get into it.
I think in your attempt to get in the group, you try to play catch up, but you kind of like overstep.
I'm going to tell you why I'm upset with you. When I came into this group, I had heard things that were alleged against you. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. All the while, she's calling me, "You need to have my back with these ladies."
I never said that.
Oh, yes, you did.
No,
you called
you're
me.
a liar.
Why are you trying to hijack this conversation? Saying
Go ahead.
they're trying to build a case.
Go ahead.
I will if you just shut up for a second.
Okay, but what do you think made her snap?
Okay, I feel like she was waiting for a moment. I think it was all premeditated.
Okay.
You want to fit in so bad.
You are the person that has been in this group for 1 year, and you still don't fit in. What does that say about you, my love?
Oh, my
Thank
God.
you. And next thing I know, this giraffe is hovering over me. Get out! Get out!
Get out. Get out. Not today. You want to act unladylike?
I have
Take your
better
things and be
things
gone.
to do.
Toodle-doo. I've had enough.
I'm done.
Get out.
I have other things to do
Get out.
today.
Toodles. Yeah.
I feel she set me up. I felt she had no intention
None.
of us having a meeting of the minds.
So here's the thing. I do not think Stacey set Tia up to get kicked out. I really do feel like Stacey was pretty much at her wit's end when it came to this group. Like, she probably feels like every time I get in a group scene, y'all are attacking me, and it ain't gonna be you, Miss British lady. You just got here 3 seconds ago. And the reason why I really feel like Stacey didn't set her up is because AJ, Stacey's best friend, was shocked. Like, he was like, "You really kicking her out?" Like, he looked perplexed. Like, he was like, "Girl, I know." Like, he looked confused and really like, "Oh my God, you're like very shocked that she was kicking her out." And I feel like if my best friend is there for me, I would tell them if I was gonna kick somebody out. Like, I would. So I don't believe she did that. I saw some people being like, "Well, why didn't Stacey kick out Ashley? Why did she kick out Tia?" And I feel like people forget. Again, Tia just got here 3 days ago. Ashley and Stacey actually were really cool during season 9. Ashley just switched up on her after the reunion, and Jassi and her are friends. So I just feel like, yeah, I'm gonna kick out the person I just met. I would do the same thing as Stacey. But yeah, I wouldn't have invited Tia or Ashley if I was Stacey, because I know y'all don't like me like that. And this is my event, but that's just me. I understand camera time. You gotta do what you gotta do. When it comes to whether or not Stacey is the first African-American female to have her own cannabis line, I didn't fact check that, but she could be lying. I don't know if she could be telling the truth. I don't care. I really don't care. But let's move on. All right, y'all. So let's talk about Keiarna. So the first thing I want to talk about is Chanel Ayan basically saying that Keiarna and Katie were the rudest Bravo celebrities she met down in BravoCon. Now, I don't have the clip, but shouts out to All True Tea. that's where I heard it. Basically, Ayan was on the Humble Brag podcast, which the two hosts is Crystal Minkoff from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Cynthia Bailey from Real Housewives of Atlanta. And they were basically asking Ayan what was her experience being the host of the blue carpet. I think she did a great job being Bravo's correspondent. Normally, Ayan's personality is annoying to me, but she was really great as a hostess. Like, I mean, very engaging with all the Bravo celebrities. You could tell that she made a lot of people feel comfortable. She just has that personality. So it was kind of crazy to hear that Keiarna and Katie were the rudest people that she met, because I wasn't expecting that from them. Even based off of like my critique of them on the show, it was Katie and Keiarna's first BravoCon. Because no, did Katie go to, no, I think Katie went to BravoCon no, they do BravoCon every 2 years now. So yeah, no, I was surprised. I thought maybe they would feel differently or be different. Ayan basically said that for Katie, she didn't know that Katie was going through a lot over her season. So she contributed her attitude to that. Like, maybe that's why she was standoffish. When it came to Keiarna, she just felt like Keiarna had her nose in the air about everything. But watching the Brooke Ashley's video about her experience at BravoCon, and she did get the opportunity to meet Keiarna, she said that Keiarna was overwhelmed with the amount of press that they were doing and the people. So I wonder if that's what it was. Like, she was just overwhelmed with the whole entire situation. And sometimes when you do, when people do get overwhelmed, they can be standoffish. They can come off as rude. So let's give the people grace. So moving on, let's talk about Keiarna and that lady with the eyebrows, aka Deborah Williams. So I thought that both cases were thrown out when both ladies decided to sue each other because of the nightclub brawl that went down. Well, this was posted by Baddies TV. And let's get into it, because it seems like there has been an update. So it says RHOP Keiarna Stewart and Deborah Williams reach a tentative settlement after nightclub fight. A long-running drama between Keiarna Stewart and Deborah Williams, triggered by a violent nightclub brawl, appears to be approaching resolution. According to recent court filings, the two have reached a tentative a tentative settlement with a remote status hearing now scheduled for January the 30th, 2026 to finalize the agreement until court receives the formal dismissal papers. However, the lawsuit still remains active. Okay, because I thought it was done, like they dismissed everything. But the post continues on by saying this: the fight happened on July the 13th, 2023 during an after party following the fashion launch in Washington, D.C. Reports say the altercation escalated quickly after drinks were thrown and Keiarna got caught in the chaos. She was struck in the forehead by a glass, suffering a serious cut that required medical attention and left a lasting scar. Keiarna later filed a lawsuit against Deborah Williams in February of 2024, seeking $10 million in damages for assault, battery, and emotional distress. Thoughts? So yeah, like I said, I thought this was over. But I guess that if they reached a settlement, I wonder if Deborah has to pay Keiarna, or maybe she has to do like a public apology, something, since they've reached a tentative settlement. But I'll be back once we get a update to all of this. So the next thing I want to talk about as it pertains to Keiarna is she did this live with Angel. Now, I told y'all this in the beginning of the season. Keiarna was going to be doing lives after every episode. I don't know if she's been doing that consistently, but these are the only clips that I saw make the internet. Okay, there's been like one other clip that I've seen that we talked about here, and then now we're here and we're like on 11 episodes, so that kind of tells you what's the vibe of them lives, if she really is doing lives. Okay, but this was caught by the Reality Rundown, and it says this: Keiarna says Stacey uses microaggressions towards her. So let me pull that clip up for you guys.
Yeah, mad beefs. I don't know if you just heard me. I just said that. I thought that was like, it's one of those cheap things. It's a microaggression. It's something that I think that is used like I want to fight you, or I'm aggressive, or it's like, girl, you've heard this 5 times today, but when Kay said it, now it's so scary. Get out of here, please.
Now, before we get into my commentary, let's actually talk about what a microaggression is. And this definition is coming from Keiarna, Illinois EDU, and it says this: what are microaggressions? Microaggressions are verbal, behavioral, or environmental actions, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicate hostility towards oppressed or targeted groups, including people of color, women, LGBTQ persons with disabilities, and religious minorities. People may demonstrate their biases and prejudices in more subtle ways, otherwise known as microaggressions. Keiarna, that's not a microaggression, baby. You've been aggressive, so Stacey stating that she does not want to be around you is not a microaggression. I think it was episode 2. You basically told her you would handle her. And in episode, I think it was episode 4, before y'all went to Nevis on the sprinter to Preakness, you basically said you talk with aggression. So her saying I don't want to be around her because she aggressive, baby, that's not a microaggression. We need to own the way we treat people and how it may come off, okay? So the next clip I want to play for you guys is another portion of the live. Mad Beefs caught this portion where it says Keiarna says Stacey is using microaggressions against her and that she packed Stacey up, #RHOP. When they are referring to Keiarna packing Stacey up, Keiarna saying that she got Stacey together at the Reasonably Shady event. So let me pull that clip up for you guys.
You said I didn't have a husband. Whoop-de-doo. I asked you what Tima was. We were done with it. We went, okay, girls, this was going nowhere fast. We moved on. We moved around, and we're still at the party. Greg comes at the party, so that takes things like to a whole nother level because now my man is here. I'm refocused. Angel is actually now in this, verbal spat between her and Wendy. Me, Giselle, and Ashley are actually on the side of this verbal spat, and I said, you know what? This is her chat. I'm not even going to get into that because Angel needs to have this conversation however it needs to happen. So I'm actually on the sidelines at the bar. We're getting shots, and I'm like watching it because I'm standing back and watch her. And I see the thing is getting all head bobby. It's getting all crazy. It's people screaming out other crazy things. And I was like, yeah, I don't really like the way this chat is going. And they're like, no, okay, like this is Angel saying. And I was like, yeah, but I don't really like how it's going. So I come over.
Yeah, when everybody else, when their friend is in a verbal spat, they can come over and
get
be lawyers, mouthpieces.
Ooh, the mouthpiece. So I say, okay. So finally I was like, I don't really like the way that this is going. Let me go over here and kind of like in the chat. So at this point, you and Wendy are still having this exchange. And I'm like, hey, Wendy, at this point, because my job, me and Wendy, like, have these, like, makeup and breakups that you guys are not saying either. So I'm, like, tapping Wendy on her shoulder. And I'm like, babe, yeah, like, that's, like, what's happening here, whatever. So I told Angel's, like, at her peace with it. She's still, Wendy's having her moment. So I'm like, Angel exits the chat after this, right? So as Angel exits the chat, me and Wendy are still conversing about, like, what's the deal here? Yeah, out of nowhere, Stacey runs into the scene. And she's like, yeah, like Keiarna's trying to do with me. And I'm like, okay. Like, okay. So I'm still talking to Wendy because I'm like, I'm not really talking to her because I don't know why she's talking to me anymore because all the chat that we had today has going nowhere fast. So she's in my face. Mind you, she's in my face. So, like, which would be considered for me. If I wasn't me, I'd be like, okay, this is getting a bit aggressive. But I'm like, okay now, girl, because, like, do you want my attention? Because I'm actually talking to Wendy. I'm not talking to you. So she did it again. She's case trying. And so I'm like, girl, you have nothing going on for me to want to have any kind of thing with you. Like, I just think you're lying. That's it. So from there, it turns into her saying something else and pointing her finger in my face. Okay, now that's at this point, this is crazy because now you got my attention. And in this moment, I don't back down. I'm just looking at her like she is absolutely out of her mind. You're out of your mind putting your ring finger in my face. So at this point, I mean, I could totally say that was aggressive behavior because why would you do something like that? Why? First of all, why are you back over here? You're back inserting this. If we left it here, it was like you took a extra little shot and said, let me go Rambo. And get back in the ring.
It didn't have to go like that.
It was strange. And I'm like, what is happening? happening? So when the people are saying that I'm aggressive and I'm the aggressive person, no, ma'am. Okay. Yes, they are. It's a very old storyline. Kay is aggressive. It's always the girl that's being direct that gets the aggressive cut. But it's so crazy because, to be honest, a lot of times, y'all, I really don't even say all the thoughts that are even on my mind because I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna leave this kind of where it's at because I don't want this to go more left than this. I just kind of want to speak my piece and go. But that's not really what the other ladies do towards us.
So here's the thing. Angel and Keiarna, this live, I didn't really even pay attention to everything that they were saying. As I was watching it, I kept getting increasingly annoyed because I was like, this is why you have to have friends who will tell you the truth or who are able to see the forest from the trees or read the room. Because they're both saying yes, like, you know, like agreeing with each other, not understanding that the way in which things went down is not so. Like, Angel, the group was already there around you. Giselle was the one that started that conversation between you and Wendy. Giselle was the one that was like, oh, Angel, don't you got smoke for Wendy? And Wendy said, oh, you do? And then that's how the conversation began. And Keiarna walked up over there and then like tried to chime into the conversation. And that's when Stacey chimed in. If they had somebody who would tell them like, both of y'all sound crazy, maybe they wouldn't be on live making this situation worse for them in the sense of like their public image, because this live didn't do either of them any favors. They both just look like bitter Bettys who can't understand that you're not underdogs, that both of y'all don't know what you're doing and you're floundering this season. And I definitely am excited for the reunion because I want to know if Angel is going to be able to handle Wendy, Ashley, and Giselle coming at her throat. And I'm wondering if Keiarna can handle Wendy and Stacey coming at her. Because even though Wendy has this whole legal trouble, I do not believe that it's going to deter her from getting in people's asses. So the last segment will be about Miss Monique, okay? So first up is this clip that I want to play for you guys. Monique was on Angela Yee's podcast, and y'all know the last time we talked about Monique, it was about that video and that guy by the name of Jason Weems. It seems as though they are dating. Allegedly, that is actually her boyfriend. Well, she actually explained who she feels as though put the video out there. So I want to play the clips for you guys. So the statement that they put on top of the video says this: Monique says that her ex-husband leaked the viral video of her and her ex-co-host Jason, says he did it to use as an intimidation tactic for her returning to reality TV. So let me post that clip for you guys.
Recently, these pictures and videos emerged of you and your former co-host, Jason, and it looked like you guys were hugged up, and people were like, oh, he's married, what's going on here? So what was that all about?
So first, it's so much, and I'm gonna unpack it as easily and as neatly as possible. So when I was going through the divorce, I was separated but still living in the same house. Jason and I were like great friends. Like we never spent any time outside the studio, nothing like that. As I was going through the whole divorce process, the separation, everything like that, he was giving me this advice that I was like, you have to have been through something to be able to give me this type of advice. We started to have like an amazing friendship outside of work. And I started to learn some things about what he was going through. So we connected on that level, him being separated, living in the same house, but people not knowing because obviously he's not, you know, out there like that in reality TV space. Mine was more public. And it was a friendship that was genuinely a friendship that turned very emotionally connected, and then it turned romantic. And the reason this video is out there right now is because my ex-husband actually leaked it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's tea. Like legit, he has been showing this video to everybody. And the bigger question is, how did he get it?
So off the cloud.
The cloud? No, he actually got it from a former friend of mine who, you know, when you go through divorce, you lose some friends, you lose some family. It blew my mind. So for whatever reason, this particular former friend, we were cool. And then it was just like, and she was the only person that I was sharing this information with, her and my mom. And she ended up giving it to him, and he used it as an intimidation tactic because he did not want me back on reality TV. He's afraid of my book coming out. So he has been showing it. So people like in the reality TV world on social media, they think they know who he is, but he's a completely different person. Thanks to me, people think that he is what he is.
Right, because you wanted the family life to appear perfect.
Yeah,
you
did a good job at that, by the way. Thank you.
And
but
even
it's to my
detriment. You know what? It's so
Exactly.
interesting because I feel like you've taken, even in this book, it's not like you dragged him at all. There was a couple of truths that you have that I feel like you expressed in a way that you weren't blaming him for the way that things transpired. Yeah. It was just that he was never going to be the person that you thought he would grow to be.
Yes. A lot of times women marry potential and men marry and want to stay the same, you know, and it was that mixed up. And I was like, look, it's not fair for me to keep you in this position. Like, be who you are, but who you are is just not where I want to be anymore. I'm evolving, I'm growing. So it just got really nasty recently.
I can't believe he did that.
So there's a friend that's been on the show, Cookie. She and I stopped talking years ago.
The infamous Cookie child. You know,
Yeah.
I saw Cookie.
Yeah.
She was in and out of that party.
Listen, and it's really interesting because it initially got leaked on one of her very well-known fake Twitter pages. So yeah, everybody knows.
I can't believe you're back on this show, girl.
I know.
It's so much already.
So much came out. But you know what's crazy? He tried to use that video to intimidate me from coming back. And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Whatever. Like, do what you gonna do.
Wow.
So it was always like, then it was like, well, I ain't gonna do that. You the mother of my child. I ain't gonna do that. You still the mother of my children. But then he still did it. But then he was even intimidating the other parties. Reached out on Instagram DMs, like, call me. I need to talk. And then threatening, I'm gonna put this out on social media. So this wasn't a surprise.
Oh my gosh.
It was just didn't know when, but it wasn't. And the video is 2 years old.
2 years old, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I saw that's what people were saying. So he was going through his own separation at home,
right?
While you were going through what you were going through,
right?
That is wild.
Girl. Now, I talked about this in my recent review for Real Housewives of Potomac Spicy Corner, where we talked about the video and how I was like, girl, what is this? Like, is the man married? Is he divorced? And I even said, like, does Cookie have shooters, or is this Cookie on her burner account? And girl, they saying it was Cookie on her burner account. I said, my God, today. Because the account that I referenced that I saw the video from, girl, now they're saying that's an account that Cookie uses regularly, allegedly, to push information out there. And I said, my God, on today. So I believe it. I believe that page was Cookie, because the crazy thing is when I went looking for the page, they had changed the profile picture and they had locked the page. So now on Twitter, it's a private page now. And I said, girl, this is the page where I saw all of this. All of it. I said, oh my gosh, this is messy. Okay. But it looks like Cookie has we'll say allegedly Cookie, even though we don't know for sure, but I feel like it's her, but y'all, we'll say allegedly, has this like obsession where when she doesn't like somebody, she uses that page to like drag their name and like just really dog them out. She does it like before the page went private, she was talking real bad about Wendy, still was talking negatively about Candiace, and was talking about Stacy, like just dogging them women out. But now that this has been outed, the page is now private, okay? But it seems as though she also was doing this to the people that were on Love and Marriage DC, i.e. Jamie and Arena Tyler. So this was posted by Baddies TV, and it says this: RHOP's Cookie called out by Love and Marriage DC's Jamie Tyler. He says she runs fake troll pages and has been terrorizing RHOP and LAMDC cast for years. It says Jamie Tyler from Love and Marriage DC is finally calling out RHOP's Cookie after staying quiet for 2 years, exposing the fake friend, clout chasing, and social media chaos she's been stirring up. So this is what was posted on Instagram. him. He says this: I've been quiet about this topic for 2 years now, and I'm glad that Psychopath has finally been blasted in public by other reality TV fans and talent. It goes on to say, we already knew it was her when it happened, but the former detective in me wanted that hardcore evidence for a private investigator at the time. Now, 2 years later, she has popped up on RHOP being pressed and messy once again for fame and clout and starting. And then he put the poop emoji with the cast members she hates on their show and still running fake troll pages on social media trying to ruin people's image and families. It says, well, I want to thank Monique for blasting her and exposing how fake and scandalous that woman truly is. Be careful who you call a friend on these DC streets. So I saw this and I said, oh, dang, girl, not you was messing with the Love and Marriage DC people. So I saw that, and then next thing you know, I see Mary Cosby's fan page also post information saying this. It says, it has come to my attention that the page that was DMing me Potomac Scoop during filming is possibly ran by Cookie or someone in her camp. Hashtag RHOP. And they posted 3 pictures. So let me get into that, y'all. So the first picture they posted was a screen recording. It was like 2 seconds. But y'all, the page that I referenced in my spicy corner that I did in the review for the latest episode, or the last episode of Potomac that I reviewed, it's the same account, the LELAJEN 930200439 account, but they changed the name to Clapback. And now the account is locked because of this situation. They also posted screenshots of a conversation that they had to prove that this person was corresponding with them. And they were talking about Chris. So the first screenshot is dated October the 19th. And it says this: Stacy and this Chris situation is wild. She asked to be introduced to him. And then Mary Cosby's fan page responded by saying, oh, it also has been said that Monique fits right in with the cast. And then they responded by saying, Wendy does this big turnaround to Monique, but Wendy had no friends. Kay and the new ladies weren't feeling Monique. Ashley and Monique still kept in touch periodically. Giselle has her own binder, shall we say, of Monique and the married boyfriend, so she feels very dominant currently if Monique tries anything with her. But Giselle has said Monique was extremely nice to everyone while filming. Always remember, Giselle just wants the show to keep going. So then the next screenshot that they also posted was another conversation that they had in the DMs where it says this: she was fired from, I think they're talking about Stacy, fired from QVC. It says she needs to tap into a bath, which that does implicate Cookie, because when they escorted Cookie away from the Reasonably Shady event, she did say Stacy needs to take a bath. She says, in this season, I've heard twice her breath is stinky. I'm speaking facts, no jokes. And then Mary Cosby's fan page responded by saying, Lord, Stacy. And then they go on to say, also the local Black news anchors all thought the one of the other women were bringing Stacy around. And then they realized she was lying and saying this one or that one invited her. When the news anchor talked, they all realized she was lying to everybody and was stalking all of them. I'm not kidding about the body odor either. Now the breath issue was we're hearing for the first time this season. Yeah, this is giving Cookie though. Then they also posted screenshots of Jamie and Chris Bassett having a conversation in the DMs. So Chris Bassett said this. He said, damn, that IJS page is her. That page always talks mad shit about Candiace and still does. We've been on that show for a minute. That tracks. I think he meant to say we haven't been on that show for a minute. That tracks. So then Jamie responded by saying she only trolls her enemies. Then another user said, are you talking about Big Bad Cookie? I hope. And then another person said, yep, he is. Then another Instagram post that they posted was a guy by the name of Willie Brown saying, "You already know where I stand and how I feel about this person, bro. Lied for years telling people she was my father's daughter. Zero blood." Oh, so this is Chuck Brown's son. Oh, that's wild. Okay. He said zero blood to us. And then Jamie responded back to Willie Brown by saying, "Absolutely, bro. A big ass fraud." So then Mary Cosby's fan page posted more receipts. So they quote tweeted their initial tweet and they tweeted this out saying, "Oh yes, this is Cookie for sure." So I guess at first they were like, "I don't know," but they came back and then they posted screenshots of the account talking. So it says this, the first screenshot: "I'm mad they edit out parts that made Cookie leave. Show how produced the show is. Did you see how many security guards they had there? They wanted it to jump off, but just a little. Hashtag RHOP." Then the other tweets were, "Wendy is a scammer on TV and real life. Monique says on TV that Chris Samuels couldn't even have sex with her again. I don't think he wants to ever sleep with her again after all the others he found out she's been with. Hashtag RHOP. Wendy just dropped Candiace like hot potatoes for Monique. Let's see if Monique will visit Wendy in the pen." Then the next tweets were, "Yep, you saw how fast security escorted her out. I bet they edited something we didn't see." The other one says, "Monique is not who she's trying to fool people into believing she is." And then the last tweet was, I think, a tribute to Chuck Brown. Oh, it was his obituary. And you do somewhat see a picture of Cookie, but it says, "Monique is the real demonic one because how come Cookie is listed along with the family in their goodbyes to Chuck? Cookie is there and her picture is there as well. Hashtag RHOP. Hashtag Monique be lying." I would have to agree that I think this page is Cookie. Oh, shenanigans, bro. Straight shenanigans. And if you're really interested in Jamie Tyler's perspective from Love and Marriage DC, go over to Really B's channel. I'll put her information on the screen. I'll also put the thumbnail of what the video looks like. But she did an interview with Jamie. They actually had a really good conversation. And in that video, he exposed the ways in which he figured out who was behind the pages that was trolling him and Arena on the show and how it was Cookie. And the journey he takes you on was really interesting. So if you are interested, please check out that video. So another clip I want to play for you guys is Monique sat down with Virtual Reality T, and she also spilled that Cookie was lying on Chris. So this was also posted by Baddies TV, and it says this: RHOP's Monique Samuels says Cookie told everyone she was sleeping with Chris Samuels and claimed he only stayed with Monique for the kids. So it goes on to say, according to Monique, Cookie has been going around telling anyone who will listen that she is allegedly sleeping with Chris Samuels. So let me play that clip for you guys.
And she's a person who I cut off along with my ex-husband while we were still married. So she was spreading all kinds of rumors saying that she was having an affair with Chris years ago. So Chris, yes. So Chris, yes. And she told
He's in the cookie
people.
jar. Wait, so she made that up? There was no truth to it?
So she was telling people that she was having an affair with my ex-husband, who was my husband at the time. And she said the only reason he was staying is because of the kids. She would tell people these things. And then we found out. Me and him called her, put her on speakerphone, and we said, listen, we're not fooling with you. We just had a crazy situation with a former friend, and the people who have told us this are credible people. We don't know why you're saying this, but we're done. So to my surprise, I come around and they're like, yeah, Chris and Cookie. I'm like, wait, what is happening?
Was it surprising to you that he still messes with her?
Yes, I was completely caught off guard, and I did not know. I didn't understand how this connection happened again. And then everybody's like, why is Chris calling Cookie? Why?
So it looks like Cookie likes to lie on people, but Monique already knew that. I'm going to be honest. I don't really feel that bad for her. She had no problem being friends with Cookie during the time of season 5 when Cookie was going out of her way to bully and harass Candiace on the behalf of Monique. She was intentionally trying to get Candiace blackballed in the city of DC. There was so much going on. I remember the Reddit post where people were exposing Cookie. I remember like that, like the North remembers how violent and evil people were to Candiace during season 5. I remember sitting in Clubhouse listening to women in their 50s and 40s threatening like violence against Candiace. If they saw her on the streets, they were going to try to take her out. I remember that. And I remember how Monique was friends with this page called Black Socialite. The guy that ran the page, his name was Kyle. He died during season 5 of Real Housewives of Potomac. And Monique mentions him at the end of her video where she says, say no to bullies or something, as a way to dig at Candiace because she felt like Candiace was bullying the man or the women were bullying her, even though, girl, you're the one that assaulted somebody. Okay. But he was going out of his way to harass and bully Candiace. Like, to the point where they were actually trying to get in contact with Chris's estranged son to get him to give them information about Chris and Candiace. That's how nasty people got during season 5. And Monique was okay with it when it was happening to Candiace, but now that stuff is happening to her, it's an issue. Again, I don't think what Cookie is doing is right. I think it's extremely pathetic at her big age that she has a Finsta account and she's putting all this information out when it's like, girl, say it with your chest if you really feel that way. But it's hard for me to have that much sympathy for Monique when I remember how nasty and vile and hateful people were towards Candiace on Monique's behalf, and she fanned the flames of that hatred towards that lady. So let's get into Monique being on Watch What Happens Live, okay? So the first clip I want to play for you guys is Monique talking about Giselle predicting her divorce, okay?
What was your reaction to Giselle saying that she saw your divorce coming?
Well, now having gone through it, I see exactly where she's coming from, and I see where she was coming from so many years ago. Because when you're in a marriage, I feel like one thing that she got wrong is that she said I wasn't being authentic. I was. But at the end of the day, when you're in a marriage, you typically try to keep what's happening in the home in the home. Trying to do that and juggle doing that on reality TV was very difficult for me.
Of course.
So when she saw right through certain things, it's because she's been through it before.
Right.
I guess. I mean, I don't believe Giselle was giving her that advice because she cared. I just think she knew the patterns. But cool that she's acknowledging that Giselle had a point. So the next clip I want to play for you guys is Monique talking about her relationship with Giselle, but more so the conversation that they had on episode 10. She says that it was a lot longer than what we saw. So let me play that clip for you guys.
Loved seeing your sit down with Giselle.
I wish they would have showed so much more.
What did we miss?
Y'all missed everything. She
Really?
was accountable. We apologized to each other. We got into it from literally I have 4 homes all the way up to the binder.
Wow.
Like we really went there and we laughed and it was just like, it was very unexpected, but it was refreshing. It was really good.
Well, because I was going to ask you, because I saw you take accountability a lot in that lunch.
And she did too.
Well, I'm happy to hear that because we didn't show her taking that much accountability, and I was curious.
I wish they would have showed everything that she said, because she said a lot as well. And we were able to kind of like put some pieces to the puzzle that were missing that I forgot about. And it was a lot of misunderstanding.
Were you surprised that she took that much accountability?
I was surprised, but I was also like hoping that she would, just because it's been so many years.
Right.
So it was a really it was a nice grown-up moment for us. And then we ended on a note where we said we will always throw shade, but to each other's face.
Okay, good. I
Not
like
in the
it.
confessionals.
Okay.
So they did this last season when Wendy and Giselle sat down. I don't understand why they won't show us longer conversations. That's something that everybody wants to see. So I don't understand production's reasoning for cutting it out. It definitely would have gave more context, because without seeing Giselle really take accountability, we just saw Monique apologizing. But ultimately, even in that conversation, you could tell that Monique really wanted to have this sit down with Giselle because she really wants to be friends with that lady. And she sees this as an opportunity for it. So the next and the last question from Watch What Happens Live is an audience member asking Monique, is there a way that she can reconcile with Candiace?
Seeing that you've done so much work on yourself, how do you feel about your relationship with Candiace, and do you see there ever being a reconciliation?
There was no relationship, and sometimes moving on doesn't mean that you have to reconcile. Sometimes you just see people for who they are, and you know your place and you set your boundaries, and it's okay not to rekindle something that isn't meant to be rekindled.
Monique is full of it. And I don't care what nobody says, because what do you mean you and Candiace had no relationship? And a lot of people are like, no, you guys, she's referencing now. No, if she meant now, she would have said, oh, currently or right now, we do not speak to each other. We do not have a relationship. She meant as of on the show. And even further to prove that she meant that, I'm going to play a clip of what she said on the local news today, which is Monday. That lady be flip-flopping and giving y'all word salad and y'all eat it up. But I want to play the audio of what happened during season 4 reunion where she referenced Candiace as her little sister.
The disillusion of my friendship with you.
That's definitely my thorn. As soon as he said it, I was like, my thorn is definitely our relationship, because I do look at you like a little sister.
Don't.
I'm trying not to do this. I don't want to cry.
You said this.
But
You've said this.
I've said it to Karen over and over again.
and over.
And
it's beautiful.
I want to move forward. I feel like we just need to have a conversation, because I feel like a lot of what happened throughout the season was a lot of misunderstandings.
I think so.
And then us not really communicating.
I wish that I would have called you.
Me too.
You guys want to hug it out?
Please.
Oh my God.
I'm crying now, but you started it.
I miss you.
Yes.
So there was no relationship, but you called that lady your little sister. And then the audio. Let's get into the audio of what she said on the local news.
Got to follow up on a moment from last night's Watch What Happens Live when you were asked about reconciliation with Candiace.
Yes.
You managed to find it with Giselle.
Yeah.
Why isn't there a chance for it with Candiace?
Well, Giselle and I never really had an off-camera relationship. We didn't have a friendship that we were trying to develop off camera. So it's a little bit difficult when you're nurturing off camera friendships, and then when you get on camera and that person completely flips things or twists things and projects what they're doing onto you. It's like we had something that was supposed to be real within the reality TV space. So with that, Giselle has always showed me who she was. You know, like, so whatever she presented, I believed it, even if we bumped heads. So what I don't like is the double face. I don't like when you're showing me one way and then when you're around some other people, I'm always going to say the same exact thing that I told you in private. I'm going to say it in public, you know? And I only can roll with people that are like that.
So there was a deeper sense of betrayal from Candiace as opposed to Giselle based upon the relationship that you all had.
Right. There was a lot of things happening off camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that could change if maybe she extended the olive branch? Does it have to come from her first, or?
Yeah, I just don't feel like every time when you go through something, there has to be this reconciliation that happens. I think that's why a lot of people stay stuck in relationships and friendships that they've outgrown a long time ago. At some point, you have to move on and just let it be what it is and learn your lesson from it and say, you know what, this sucked. We went through it, but I was able to grow from this. What were you able to do?
So now there is a relationship and stuff was happening off camera and on camera. Yet there was a hot mic moment during season 5 where after you guys ambushed Candiace, you apologized to her. But there's also on camera a scene of you agreeing to ice her out. Let me play that clip for y'all.
As far as me being a friend on a more personal level, like I thought we were, it's not gonna happen. Until everyone turned their back on her. You know what I mean? If she feels like she's iced out, then she'll maybe see like, oh my God, maybe it's me. No, don't talk to me. No, we are not friends. Back the up. Get off of me. I had to. You could have come to me at the party and been like, no, I'm just home. No, we're gonna talk about this off camera.
Monique can't be trusted. She's one way in front of the group. She's a whole different way when the group is not around. That's not being a friend. That's being two-faced.
So remind me again, Monique, what did Candiace do to you? That lady is a coward and she's weird. And the only reason why y'all go up for her is because she's pretty. She's like Portia. And I'm not saying you're wrong for liking her, but let's not act like she's not weird and a coward, because if she really has healed and evolved, anytime someone would ask her about Candiace, she would always preference as, you know what, I was dead wrong for putting my hands on her. I don't think we'll ever be friends, but I just want to reiterate, I was wrong for what I did. This whole thing of saying there was no relationship, but then the next day you get on the local news and you flipping and dipping and saying she did things to me too on and off camera. Girl, Candiace was a genuine friend to you, and that's why you can't acknowledge how badly you messed up, because you know you tarnished a real relationship for two broads, but really one broad, which is Ashley, that is a snake in the grass, because this is the same Ashley who insinuated that you had a drinking problem and potentially caused your own miscarriage. This is the same Ashley who's currently on this season trying to orchestrate you crashing out again on Stacey because it would be good for ratings. That's not a friend, girl. And you know that, but but you know in your mind you gave up a real friendship to be cool with her. So you have to figure out how to make it work, or you did that for no reason. And you're also gushing over the fact that you and Giselle had a conversation, the same Giselle that did not like you since your first season, season 2, the same Giselle that was prepared to spread a rumor that you were having an affair on your husband and that your third child was not your husband's. But you cannot have a real conversation with Candiace. And I don't know, Candiace may not be open to it, which is her right too. But it's weird behavior from her. And this whole like, I'm healed and I'm loving light. No, you're not, girl. You're Portia Williams 2.0. People give you a pass because you're pretty. And that's about it. Girl, you almost had me until you did this press run. And I see you, girl. I see you. But as always, remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.